We have with us Roma Datta Chobey, Managing Director for Google India. Roma, many thanks for speaking to PTI. It is wonderful to have you with us.
Thank you so much, Mamita.
Roma, tell us more about the announcements that have been made at the Google for India Event 2024 edition, and what really does it mean for the India market and for Google users in India?
Coming to your question on the announcements, it's difficult to pick a few. They were all so special, but let me start with what's really meaningful for me, which is how are we making AI real for every individual. So there were quite a few announcements that we did which talks to how AI is impacting our lives for people like you and me, and of course, people living in every corner of India. There were announcements around languages on Gemini. Gemini is our latest model, very effective. I don't know if you've used it, you must use it, you have. We have it in English and Hindi. We will have more languages coming in Gemini. I've personally been using it for translation, sharpening my Bengali, and it's working as an excellent tutor for me. We also made some announcements around Map, Google Lens, basically making lives of our consumers in India simpler. I drive to work every day. So the Map announcements on the weather forecasting, like if it's foggy, you will come to know, it will tell you that the visibility is low, so you can be careful. So it's very important from safety perspective. Then of course, the roads are flooded, you get an alert. Now these sounds like small things, but it makes such a big difference in our day-to-day lives, right? So announcements there. We've also spoken about financial inclusion in a big way with GPay. So we spoke about our partnership with Muthoot Finance on gold loan. Now, I don't know if you know this, 11% of world's gold is housed in India. Putting that to economic use can really have a large impact towards financial inclusion. So we are again very happy about that partnership. Of course, we continue to work for businesses of all sizes and shapes, starting from the small ones. We spoke about Product Studio, which helps our small businesses create digital assets for a strong, impressive online presence. So you can use regular photographs, clicked from your phone, which can be converted into attractive videos for their customers. So that's there. Of course, we spoke about how we are training SMBs on digital skill, and what I'm really happy about is that we connect almost 35 million businesses to almost 900 million customers every month. So that's a huge number. Of course, there's a lot of work that's happening on Play. It's really heartening to see Indian developers earn up to 4,000 crores annually on Google Play. And what's even more interesting is that more than 80% of this comes from export. So, literally opening the doors for the global consumers, for developers developing in India. So that's amazing. Let me also talk about some of the large-scale, announcements that we have worked on. We spoke about green energy today because we really believe that, when we are solving for, we don't want India's leapfrog to benefit only this generation of Indians. We want it to benefit the next and the many that comes. Globally, Google is committed to being carbon neutral by 2030, and towards that we have made this announcement on green energy. So 186 megawatt of green energy in partnership with CleanMax and Adani Energy. So these two partnerships, of course, CleanMax is going to be in Rajasthan, Karnataka. Our partnership with Adani Energy is in Gujarat, solar and wind. It will power our offices, our data centers and beyond. So really happy about that. We're also making some really interesting investments. Let me start by talking about skilling, which I believe is a very important one for a country like ours. It's a country full of youth learning, hungry to learn more. So we have committed to skilling 10 million Indians. That's a big commitment, it's a huge goal, but we have been in skilling for a while. So that gives us the confidence to take this forward. We will have courses in Hindi and English. Starting with English, Hindi will come, we'll get into more languages there. So broadly, these are these announcements. There were of course many more that I can talk about.
Roma, let's zoom out a bit. What is a larger vision that Google has for India?
So, as I said, we've completed 20 years and now we're looking ahead in the next 20 years. AI is going to play a big role here. And we are focused when it comes to AI across three pillars. So the first one is really how are we leveraging AI to help every individual in the country, and the best way we as Google can do it by using AI to democratize information as well as opportunity. When we talk about skilling, etc., that talks to the opportunity bit. The second one is we want to really play a significant role in developing the already thriving AI ecosystem in India by investing in infrastructure, by scaling the AI engine, and of course we will do all of this very, very responsibly, sustainably and inclusively. And I think that's inclusivity is very, very important, and AI can help us do that, right? So that's the second area that we are focused on in the years to come. And the third one is really about building for the future, creating a really thriving workforce that is, primed to be successful in the AI-powered world. That space is evolving and evolving fast, and we want to keep pace with it. So really these three areas and taking it forward. And of course solving for India uniquely. I also want to add here that we as part of Google India team feel so proud that there's so much work that's happening in India, which is not just solving for India, it's solving for globally. So we have Google Pay, I'm sure you've heard about it, uniquely made for India and now in other markets. And similarly, a lot of other things happening in India, which talks to Indian challenges, Indian opportunities, but also caters to some of the global needs.
Roma, you mentioned India opportunities and challenges in the context of payment. How does Google look at the India market in terms of growth? How does India stack up vis-a-vis some of the other markets that Google operates in? And more importantly, as India, sort of accelerates its growth and moves towards a $5 trillion, $7 trillion vision, where does Google see itself in that vision?
Okay, so firstly, from Google perspective, India has always been a very important market for us. We've always very uniquely solved for India, worked locally with partners here. We spoke about, IDF, India Digitization Fund. We started pixel manufacturing here. I spoke about GPay. So that continues. So India for Google is a very important market, both from a user perspective, but also from the kind of research development that is happening. We also have DeepMind presence in India. Today, we have over 10,000 Googlers working out of India, for India and other markets as well. And we have presence across 5 cities, so multiple offices here. So that's really, really important. When it comes to India, I always say this, it sounds simple, but it's really profound. What is good for India is good for Google. So we are very, very aligned to what is best for India. Now, when we look at India AI mission, government's India AI mission, the 3 pillars that I spoke a little while ago, it talks to that. So we are very finely integrating our objectives, our vision to what is really good for India, and will continue to do so. This will remain a very important market. My remit is in India, so I can talk about India. And as I said before, we also are leveraging India to solve for some of the challenges which is applicable globally.
Roma, Google CEO Sundar Pichai recently met Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the US and talked about the commitment that Google has for the Indian market. Tell us about how Google is looking at India, the AI space, the market itself, and how is Google looking to explore more opportunities out of India?
So we're really proud of that meeting, and I'm so happy about how Sundar spoke about our focus in India. Of course, AI in India is evolving in a very, very interesting way. And I'm not just talking about Google. I think, the larger ecosystem. We have the 3rd largest AI talent pool globally. We see a lot of Indian developers on GitHub, etc. So I think Indians are adopting AI in a big way. We will stay committed. I will go back to the 3 principles that I spoke about, the 3 areas that, making it work for individuals and businesses. We want to contribute to the larger AI thriving ecosystem in the country, and then double down on skilling. Like as you heard today, we announced a 4 million grant to Central Square Foundation, which is an NGO So while we are doing first piece skilling activities, we are also working with third parties who are like, experts in the fields and know how to scale it. So these kind of initiatives will carry on in the future as well.
Tell us about this $10 billion India Digitization Fund that was announced last year. How is that playing out for you in India?
So, it was very, very timely. It was really, really timely, and the idea was to play an important role in digitization of India. As I spoke today as well, that our commitment, 100% commitment, is to play a significant role in the digital revolution of India. So yes, those recently we had an investment in Pixel. So those are going on as planned. And we are happy with this fund being dedicated to India. Only goes to show how important India is in Google's overall scheme of things.
Roma, what are your thoughts on the regulatory structures that are emerging in India? And while we talked about opportunities, let's also touch upon some of the challenges. What do you see, how do you look at these allegations that come up from time to time on anti-competitive practices and dominance, and especially the pushback by Indian startups now on many fields like Play Store, billing policies, or even maps? How does Google look at, these issues in India?
No, that's a good question, and I'll step back a bit before I come to the specific answers. As Google, we've been deeply partnering with the startup ecosystem. And as I said, on Google Play, we host millions of apps, and it's great to see, and we also invest in training Android developers, and it's great to see how they are. I mentioned this stat to you a little while ago, 4,000 crores annually, and more than that, 80% of it, more than 80% coming from export, shows how Indian developers are able to leverage Google Play to reach out to a global audience. So I think we've been deeply and closely working with the startup ecosystem in India, and we remain committed and will continue to do so. Through IDF, there's been funding. We have startup accelerators. We have dedicated AI startup accelerators where startups are able to access our advanced technology, work closely with us, and that work is only increasing. That investment is only increasing every day. Having said that, I do believe that in the last few years, the way technology, and by we can say last 5 years, the way technology has evolved and has become such an important part of our daily lives. It's touching just every part of how we live, how we work, how we communicate, and all of that. And pandemic obviously caused a lot of acceleration to all of this. So that has also caused a sense of urgency to regulate. And as Google, we really believe in regulations. We believe that technology should be regulated and should be regulated well, because there are nuances. If you look at AI, it's still very nascent technology. We as Google in 2018, we had taken out our 7 AI principles. And the whole idea is that we believe that AI should be regulated, but it should be regulated in a way that it takes care of the user benefit. It's still at a nascent stage, but at the same time, it should not, in fact, the innovation should thrive. So it's a balance that needs to be done. Also, we believe that AI is such a general purpose technology. There can be so many use cases, right? So those nuances have to be kept in mind while these regulations are being framed. So having a very holistic framework, keeping in mind the AI principle, making it principle based, ensuring that we are taking care of the user benefits, especially for a country like ours, which is so vast and so diverse. There can be so many benefits of AI for a market like ours, right? Both from an economic growth perspective, also from a societal progress perspective. So keeping all these factors in mind, and of course, we need to look at the downside of any technology. So at Google, we not only have these AI principles, we have our governance frameworks, we do audits, we do red team meetings just to figure out what can go wrong. We partner very closely with academia, with experts in the field, with regulators, so on and so forth, to ensure that we are not only looking at the opportunity and the upside, but we are also being very careful on the downside. We have heavily invested in making in online safety. So today we also made the announcement of opening up Google Safety Engineering Center in India, which is a big one. This is the 4th that we are doing globally. We are so happy that India will be hosting one and uniquely solving for the online safety of users in India. And not just users, safety and security of businesses, of public sector. And all this will have a lot of work being done with academia, with experts on the research and the development side. So multi-year plans there. So that's how I look at it, and that's how we are approaching it.
Globally and in India, how do you see the pace of Gen AI and AI adoption? And you touched upon this, but broadly speaking, there's this whole global debate over AI safety, AI bias, data usage related to AI. How is Google approaching this trust and safety when it comes to artificial intelligence?
See, online safety, privacy, user benefit, these are top priorities for us, and that's why I spoke about the AI principles, right? The first one talks about social good, and we follow those principles for anything that we do. So we keep going back to our AI principles, and we also very openly engage with the ecosystem, because this is a nascent technology and we're all learning and growing together, and really that's our approach. And for Gemini, I can give you one interesting stat: 40% of our language users on Gemini are using voice. Can you imagine how powerful that is for a country like India? Because voice really unlocks access. So very, very excited about the use cases that will come out of Gemini.
Before we wrap up, a couple of questions. One, what are the big bets for Google in India, and what outcomes are you targeting in your leadership role, as you helm Google in India? The second part of it is, of course, the Made in India Google Pixel 8 devices, which started rolling off production lines in August this year. What is the update on that, and how is Google looking to scale up into more devices, more partner ecosystem, and this really the whole showcase that India has on the manufacturing side? How do you look at it from a device manufacturing perspective? I've rolled in a lot of questions.
I know, lot of questions there, but let me give you a short answer there. Firstly, we'll continue to work on AI, making AI real for every Indian, leveraging AI to solve for businesses, and deeply, deeply invest in skilling. This will for sure continue. As I said, we are really, really focused on what's good for India, and we are aligning our priorities, Google India's priorities, to that. So that means solving locally for the needs and the opportunities of India. That work will continue. And on Pixel manufacturing, I'm so happy that the first phone shipped out last month. Watch out the space, we'll talk about it more, but we're really, really happy and proud about the fact that we have started manufacturing Pixel 8 in India. Of course, we have now also have service centers in India. Pixel 9 is available on Flipkart through our Chroma tie-up, Reliance digital tie-ups, and so on and so forth. So we are really invested in this space.
Are you looking to scale up manufacturing further, and what are your investment plans for India overall?
So we will let you know as and when we make those investments and plans.
Roma, many thanks for speaking to PTI. It was wonderful speaking to you.
Lovely chatting with you today.